Hi everyone, it's Bren here. I hope you've all had a good week. Well, it's been pretty hectic for me because my kids have finished up school. I think it was yesterday. I'm kind of losing track of time. And I had a lot of bits and pieces to do before they finished up for the year. So a lot of that didn't involve the garden. I haven't been out here that much. I did sow a few seeds and did, pottered around a little bit. But there are so many jobs to do, which I know now I'll get done, starting probably from tomorrow onwards. The holidays here in Australia go on over Christmas time. They get around 6 weeks off, so lots of time to be relaxing at home, coming out here early in the morning before the sun gets a bit too intense and get on top of this kind of jungle that I've got going on. Anyway, for this week, I am doing a garden harvest. Just bear in mind, it's still early summer here. There isn't a huge amount to pick at the moment, but enough to show you now. So let's get into it. I'm starting off over here at the vine patch. Oh, this is annoying. I was only out here last night and had some beautiful, I still do have some lovely looking zucchinis, but this one has been munched at. I'm really having a problem this year with the food that I'm growing in the garden being eaten by something. There's even a snail there as well. Oh my goodness, the snails, don't get me started about these guys. They're back in full force and they've eaten so many of my seedlings that I'm going to have to replant again. I've never in my whole time gardening here on this property had issues like this where something has been eating my zucchini, so I guess I've been pretty fortunate so far, but it's just really annoying and I need to sort this out. But thankfully, whatever it was, it didn't touch the other one, so I might harvest a couple of them now. I'll remove this one and put it straight into the compost pile. And I have this lovely large one here. These are the Costa Romanesque zucchinis or courgettes. If you're a beginner gardener, I'd really recommend that you give zucchinis a try. They are so easy to grow. They are heavy producers. You get a lot of food from one plant that is actually quite low maintenance. All along the stem, they'll put out zucchinis. You can see there's a few little smaller ones along here, and these points are where I have already harvested some. I had mentioned that they were easy to grow, and I should really kind of clarify that they're easy to grow where I live. I have watched lots of other gardening videos from people overseas and they struggle with zucchinis. They have to deal with a lot of pests attacking their plants as well as fungal diseases. The only issue I've had to deal with really when it comes to zucchinis, besides this new one for me that I'll need to figure out, it has been powdery mildew. I've got no doubt that this plant will eventually get it, but once it does, I'll show you how I deal with it. There are a lot of easy DIY organic sprays that you can make out there which helps to control powdery mildew, which is a fungal disease. This is a paddy pan or a button squash. It's got a similar texture to the zucchinis. You can just chop the top off and put a stuffing in it and roast them in the oven. With zucchinis, they're just so versatile. I've shared with you before that my kids love zucchini slice. Basically, you just grate these up. And because these are so pretty to look at, I could think of some other recipes where, when I'm serving it on the plate, you get to see this beautiful ribbed pattern. Maybe even simply just slicing it up, tossing it in a pan with some oil and garlic, some chilli too. I'm near close now to be getting some chilies from the garden, and just serve it as a side dish. Next up are some Lebanese cucumbers, and I just spotted this whopper here. Oh my goodness, it's enormous. I'm so glad to have these back again because they cost me an absolute fortune in the shops, especially during winter time when they weren't in season. I know I should be buying produce seasonally, but my kids absolutely love cucumbers. So the way I looked at it was I was prepared to pay a little bit more for them to be eating something healthy, nutritious, you know, good for them. And now I've got them growing here in my garden, and I guess you'd say the only real cost would be the seed packet, some water, and of course my time, which I don't mind at all. A little caterpillar has decided to make this sunflower its home. Every time I come out to this garden, I keep on walking into spider webs. They are all over the place. I'm in the back garden now. I'll leave them there for a second because I want to show you some seeds I've sown. I've had to sow some more snake beans for my edible fort. I'm happy to see some of them popping through already. A lot of the bean plants have been eaten over at the fort, which is disappointing, but I know beans grow fast. So once I get these in and I keep more of an eye on those little seedlings and plants, I think it will take off in a matter of weeks. I do want to show you the edible fort, but please just bear with me for one more week until I make it look a bit more decent. I've also sown some more pear gourds, some loofahs, and Mardi Gras squash because none of the other seeds I'd sown germinated. Let's hope I have better luck with these ones. Next up, I'm heading into the raised garden bed area where I have a couple of tomatoes to pick. I definitely got some of my plants mixed up because this one was meant to be a Black Russian and this certainly is not one of them. It really is only the start of these tomatoes. I have had a few of the cherry currant tomatoes that I've picked here and there, but not enough to show you yet, but they're so close. So for today, I'll be picking a couple of these larger ones. This one is ready too. And if you're new to my channel wondering why I put these bags over my tomatoes, I use them to protect them against fruit fly, which is a pest that we have to deal with here in New South Wales. What you're looking at here I think needs to be normalised. Homegrown fruit and vegetables do not look as perfect as they would when you're buying them in the shops. I grow my food organically, which means I don't use any chemicals to fight off pest and disease. I try and do it naturally, and the result is that you do get blemishes on your fruit and vegetables, little marks and scratches like this, but it's perfectly fine to eat and it tastes really delicious. There are so many new things going on in the garden, like this first Echinacea sombrero yellow flower. I'm heading down the back to pick some eggplants, but before we go down there, I just wanted to stop off to show you what's happening in this section. Some of my seedlings have been eaten, particularly the zinnias, so that one's looking okay. But you can see where I had all these sticks marked, there's no more plants. Not to worry, I'll just replace them, and now I know now that I need to be more alert for, you know, the slugs and snails. Actually, the other night when I came out here to check on them, like even down here, these are the amaranths, the hoppy tie-dye. Well, on this particular one, I found a slug right in the middle of the stem with half of it leaning over it. It munched straight through it. I'm not sure if this one's going to make a recovery. Oh, and look at this one. I think this just happened maybe last night. It's so annoying. I've taken a step back, so I was just over there showing you the amaranths. They were planted a row along here. Remember, I was going to have this lovely kind of barrier between this section of the garden and over there. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to re-sow again. Oh, it's frustrating, but that's garden life for you, isn't it? Things like this happen all the time, and I'm so fortunate that our growing season is just so long that I am able to sow the seeds again, and they'll still have plenty of time to reach their full height before the frost arrives. Here's another new addition. This canna is flowering. It's been in the ground a couple of years and I haven't had a flower on it yet, so it's nice to see this. So we're down in the fan garden, and this area is just beyond my expectations. It's coming on so lovely. Here's the pineapple sage, and it's starting to get some lovely blooms on it. The cotton plant is growing so rapidly now, and so are the tomatoes there at the back. I really need to come back in here again and give them a prune and tie them up onto the stakes, because they are growing at an incredible speed, particularly since we got all the rain and the weather has really warmed up. These are all the straw flowers which I showed you at the beginning of this week's garden update, just starting to open up, and the bees of course are loving this African blue basil which made it through the winter time. So it's like, how lucky am I that I can grow basil here all year round. This one is quite nice to eat too, and of course it puts out all of these beautiful flowers which I don't find affects the taste of the foliage. Yeah, and the bees are kept really happy. I'm finishing off today's garden harvest here at these lovely eggplants. Well, that's it. I got a nice basket full of vegetables and fruit. Just the start really. I'm going to need a lot more baskets over the coming months when the food really starts to roll in. Thanks for watching everyone. I'll see you again next Friday.